All right, welcome back as we take the heavy duty frame from this 7-ton and combine it with the frame of this 7-ton, splice them together so we have a long, strong custom frame for my HeavyHaul ToterHome to sit on. The other 7-ton has already completely been torn down to its bare frame, so now we need to catch up and get this tan one torn down. Start with popping the hood, the cab, the bed, then we'll yank the engine and transmission out, and then rip the axles and transfer case away from the frame. Now here's the frame from the first 7-ton that I disassembled. In the last video, we tore it down to this point to get it ready for sandblasting, so we have a bunch of clean metal to work with. However, I'm thinking I would rather just completely disassemble it the rest of the way so that we have individual frame rails. And overall, I think it'll make sandblasting and then assembly into the longer custom frame easier if we just have bare frame rails to work with to cut the weight down. So we still have a number of huck bolts to get through, so I'm gonna grab the torch and melt these out of here. This frame is only held together by a couple remaining bolts, so I'm going to hoist it all onto the trailer and then undo the rest of these bolts and separate these frame rails from the cross members on the trailer. That way everything stays nice and organized and easy to work with for now. So let's get it out of here with the excavator. Now it is really sad that I'm going to be down 2 7-tons now, but thankfully I still have Old Reliable, my third one here. This was the first one I ever got, and I've had a lot of fun with it, so it'll be good to keep that one running, keep it around, because it can remain a full, complete running truck for now, for the foreseeable future. And here's a little compilation of fun times I've had in this truck, so you guys can get an idea of what these trucks are capable of. Oh my God! Now having this tan truck running alongside my other running 7-ton has been nice in the past. When Hurricane Helene hit our area, I was able to chain the 2 7-tons together, and that was enough pulling power to move a giant tree that had fallen over on the road. So we were able to clear the tree out of the road, because that's the main road coming into our place and all the neighbors in this area too. So before we tear it down, let's have a little bit more fun with it just for good measure and try to climb up the steepest hill on the property. Well, only halfway up the hill is how far I made it, even with all 6 tires locked in and spinning. A dirt bike is the only thing to make it up here so far. All right, let's figure out where else we can go explore. Obviously, I'm going to use Onyx Off-Road to help out with my planning, and they happen to be the sponsor of today's video. Onyx makes it real easy for me to see what my area has to offer with the Discover tab. And that's going to bring up a list of trails near me, complete with pictures and descriptions of what the trail entails. I also love how Onyx overlays the elevation contour lines so I can get an idea of the topography of the terrain and how steep I can expect things to be which for this truck, the steeper the better in my opinion. But if I want to wheel in a different rig like my OBS Ford, Onyx will help me from getting on a trail that would be too hairy for what I would want to put this truck through. And thankfully Onyx offers the ability to download offline maps, so we don't have to rely on cell service for our navigation. Now Onyx is offering my viewers 20% off a first year membership if you use the discount code HunterGoodrich. So if you're ready to hit the trails with the support of Onyx, then you can get 20% off through the link in my description below. And now, I think we've had our fun with this truck, and I think we're ready to tear it all the way down. Alright, all the hardware is disconnected from this hood. It's only held in place with some ratchet straps right now, and the excavator's up there ready to catch it. So, let's pop it loose. Wow. Gentle now. I didn't like how hard it swung back. Wasn't expecting it to go all the way back like that, but everything here seems unfazed, so must have just hit something solid. By the way, if anybody with a 7-ton would like to convert theirs to an air conditioning model, I don't need this system for anything, so I'm willing to sell it, so let me know in the comments. But the condenser, compressor, whole entire HVAC system, all this blower and everything could go. It's all in perfect working order. If anybody wants to buy any of these parts, let me know. I'm keeping the frame, axles, engine, transmission, intercooler, radiator, but everything else is available. So cab stuff, hood, transfer case, HVAC system, the bed, and any other little bits and bobbles. So let me know in the comments if you want to purchase anything. I'll give you a good deal on the parts. We'll pop this fender off so we can actually set the cab on the ground once it's time to pull that off. I removed the AC condenser. I'm going to try to keep the whole system, compressor and everything all intact to where the refrigerant won't leak out. But I'm going to work on undoing these charge pipes to get the whole radiator and intercooler out of the way. All right. That's one side. Now there's this heavy duty framework right here that takes this eyelet and connects it down to the frame in a really sturdy fashion so that this can be a lift point. Because yes, these 30,000 pound trucks can be lifted by a helicopter, which is bonkers to me. It's the CH-53, it's a behemoth of a helicopter, and it just blows my mind that there's a helicopter out there that can lift a 30,000 pound truck. But that's what they do. But anyways, let's tear this framework down because for us it's just in our way. I'll leave this other piece here for now because there's a cross member that connects the two sides and a bunch of random stuff is mounted to that. But let's transfer to try and get this radiator undone. So there we go. I undid the intercooler clamp but the engine as well. Now this pipe is ready to come out of here. The intercooler and radiator mount to the back of this cross member. So I could unbolt that lower bracket and then this whole unit could be lifted up. But then we got to take apart this fan shroud because with the fan embedded in there, we wouldn't be able to move up. And that's not the end of the world, but another option is we can undo this whole cross member and then this whole thing will just slide out. And then this whole unit will just slide right out. So I'm gonna go with that route. It even has these spacers in here. So once these are removed, this cross member will be nice and sloppy and be able to slip right out, and I'll get the excavator rigged up to hoist this thing out. I also have to do these two transmission fluid lines. These big lines take transmission fluid and run it up here to the heat exchanger that's embedded in this radiator, and that's how the transmission fluid gets cooled. I already drained all the fluid out, so that wasn't a mess. But now we're ready to remove this whole entire cooling unit. Here's all these wiring harness connectors. I just simply unscrew and pop loose. Because it shouldn't be too much more before the cab is ready to pop off. Now let's get these uprights out of the way. I already have the top cross member unbolted. Then this will probably just rotate down. Let me get this exhaust out of here. Because then we can get in here at this cab bolt. Get the steering shaft now. This fender still needs to come off. Then there's this whole bundle of wires and air hoses. We're just gonna cut right through it all, so we don't need any of it. And now the only thing holding on this cab is this last cab bolt here. The cab is mounted at 3 points with just these big rubber pads, but the funny thing is it still has 2 cab shocks on the other side to help control wobble, but we got to remove them from the cab. This catwalk behind the cab can come out now. All right, here's the main bolts holding the bed on. They have this big spacer here and this spacer here, and that allows a little bit of movement to happen between the bed and the frame. So that when this truck is flexing off-road, the bed doesn't have to like twist and contort with the frame. All right, the cab and the bed are fully unbolted from the truck, so let's pull this truck out of the shop and then lift those things off. Oh, I forgot that I do need to zip off these fenders from this side. Whoops, always gotta forget one wire. Now this truck has a winch mounted up there on the frame rail, and then the cable runs all the way back to here to this fair lead. So go remove this fair lead and get this whole winch system removed from this truck. Now we can try to get this winch line wound back in by hand, because moving this lever over here should disengage the gear train in here and cause this winch to free spool. And then I'm hoping I can grab this bolt pattern here, yeah, and kind of just wind it in by hand like that. Packaged a lot better now. I'll lock that back in place. And now I can lift this whole assembly out of here with the excavator. Just have a few more bolts to undo back here on this main framework. here, let me feature this drivetrain. It's a Cat C12, made it to a 7-speed Allison 4070. And these trucks run really well. I'm really happy with how this engine transmission combo performs. Another interesting design with this is you have this front engine mount, and then there's 2 mounts right here on either side of the transmission. And then on the back, it's just this leaf spring that kind of slaps against here. So it provides a little bit of support to the back without actually having like a more rigid mount back here. There's just this leaf spring that goes across. But anyways, we're chained up to the excavator, and I think I have everything unhooked to where this engine and transmission is ready to come out of here. Gotta add one more strap here to support the tail of the transmission. Now really this powertrain is barely fit in between those frame rails, especially with this PTO on this side being nestled in the C channel. So I knew it was going to fight us on the way out, but eventually we were able to bounce it around enough to get it freed out of there. And now this truck has been torn down to this state, which happens to be the starting position of the other truck that I already tore down in the last video. So if you want to see the process of all these parts getting broken down the rest of the way and getting these frame rails separated from these axles and all these pesky huck bolts cut out of there, then just go watch the last video, and that'll show the continuation of the process of tearing these trucks down, because I'm not going to film tearing this one the rest of the way. I'm just going to zip it down off camera. And the next video hopefully will be to the point where we can start splicing these frames back together. So that's the part I'm excited for. I'm ready to transition away from this demolition stuff and get back to building and creating new things. And the design that I'm going to go with for this custom ToterHome frame is a design that I've never seen done before. I'm adding a few unique design details that I think will end up performing really well. So subscribe so you don't miss out on the rest of the progress on this build.